absolutely. I mean, it's been an extraordinary week, hasn't it, with the Prime Minister talking about levelling up but forgetting to buckle up and various other things, and AI and all those sort of things. But one of the big things that's hit the headline is the Alec Baldwin case. Now, you might remember, tragic case on October the 21st, 2021. He was on the set of a movie called Rust. And tragically, one of the people, the cinematographer, Halyna Hutchins, was shot by Alec Baldwin, who was handed a prop gun. He assumed it wasn't loaded, and somehow it got fired. And as a result of it, she died. And also another person, one of the directors, was injured as a result. What's happened? The prosecutors in New Mexico are now pressing criminal charges for involuntary manslaughter against Alec. And it raises all sorts of questions. The Actors Guild has come out and sort of said, well, hang about, as an actor, are you supposed to have responsibility for checking the guns and so on and so forth? And what's also happened is there's been the civil cases. So the husband, who's a lawyer, he basically sued for civil action for the claim, and he basically, that was settled out of court. But one of the settlements is that he is now going to be an executive producer on Rust, an extraordinary sort of way of doing things. But I think he's saying, which I understand, is tragically his son, or their son, who was 9 at the time, is obviously left without a mother. He wants her last piece of work to get finished as a result to deal with that.
I was going to ask that. So it is going to be finished and they'll have a say on it.
The bit I don't understand about this whole thing is why were they using a real gun on the thing? I mean, I remember when I first became an MP, we had a security briefing from the police, and they had a whole array of guns on this table.
Yeah.
Some of them were real and some of them were fake. And the thing that astonished me, it wasn't that the real guns looked fake. It was the fake guns looked real. I mean, you can barely tell the difference. Why do you need to use
and it's crazy. And it's actually worse than that, because they had not just dummy bullets, they had live ammunition as well. And there's all sorts of facts which are going to be coming out. And you might remember in July 1982, there was a similar case with the Twilight Zone, the movie. And that involved a helicopter crash. And tragically, Vic Morrow and 2 child actors were killed in that situation. And there was basically against John Landis, the famous movie maker. And also it involved a number of other people as well. And that was, again, a case about involuntary manslaughter. It was painful, and the media went all over it. It took 10 months of going to trial. And in the end, the jury said, well, it wasn't beyond reasonable doubt, and therefore they let them off. But the civil case, it was settled. It involved Steven Spielberg as well. But this particular set, they'd had all sorts of problems about citations and safety of the Bureau. They basically gave them the highest possible fine they could get was $136,000, almost $140,000 as a fine for breach of all sorts of regulations.
So going back to the Alec Baldwin Rust film,
yes,
they'd had questions raised, though, hadn't they, about the security and what was going on. So it wasn't something that came out the blue of it. It had been registered right the way along. So this, again, could have added into the decision of the court.
Absolutely. And so what happened, there were a couple of incidents. It's all coming out now, and this is what will happen with the trial. The judge, first of all, has to work out whether there's a probable cause to move forward with the trial, and that will happen. And then basically within 60 days, the whole process will start. It will drag on for years if it does. The evidence we've heard so far, there have been at least a couple of other cases on the set. On the October the 16th, somebody else inadvertently fired a blank. There was another case where the stunt double for Alec Baldwin, the gun accidentally went off in his hand. There's all sorts of questions about why there was live ammunition, what happened, the safety protocols and so on and so forth. All of this will come out. The tragedy is, as I say, a life has been lost. You have to raise questions about Alec Baldwin as an actor. Does that mean that actors have responsibility for checking the guns? They also, all of a sudden, have got him involved as a producer, saying he's got responsibility on the set.